Have you ever felt a deep calling, something that echoes in the depths of your soul, as if there's a truth no one dares to reveal? The chosen ones have always been those who, even amidst controversy, step away from the words of a leader to seek something beyond the walls of a temple, an authentic and transformative connection with God. But what happens when this quest collides with doubts, silences, and secrets guarded by the churches? Today, we will dive into a spiritual awakening that challenges the norms, a silent rebellion that goes beyond appearances, revealing what lies behind it all. If you stop now, you might never uncover what is truly behind your spiritual quest. Perhaps you've felt that, despite attending temples or listening to religious leaders, something within you still cries out for answers. That feeling of emptiness, that doubt that never completely fades, could be the sign that your journey is not meant to be like everyone else's. The chosen ones do not follow easy or predefined paths. They feel a silent rebellion against everything that seems to limit their connection with God. But why this feeling of isolation and difference? Why this restlessness that seems to never end? Today, you will understand that this is not a weakness, but a key to a spiritual awakening that few have the courage to pursue. Imagine for a moment that everything you've heard so far about your faith, about what is right or wrong, might just be part of a veil hiding something much greater. What if the true purpose of the chosen ones was so profound that it had to be silenced? There is a secret that has been buried for centuries, kept away from you by the very institutions that were supposed to guide you. In this video, we will uncover what lies behind this hidden truth, something that can completely transform your connection with God and your perception of yourself. You won't want to miss this, because what's coming could change everything. Since the dawn of humanity, spirituality has been a unifying force, helping individuals make sense of the world around them and find purpose. However, over time, religious institutions such as churches took on a central role in shaping how spirituality was experienced. Originally conceived as spaces for connection with the divine, churches also became instruments of social and political power. This duality caused them, in many instances, to stray from the pure spiritual purpose to serve human interests. Historically, the relationship between church and political power is undeniable. During the Middle Ages, for example, the Roman Catholic Church was one of the most powerful institutions in Europe. Popes and bishops not only provided spiritual leadership, but also influenced kings, queens, and national policies. This close connection between spirituality and politics created an environment where faith often served as a justification to consolidate power and control populations. Many spiritual teachings were adapted or omitted to sustain the church's authority. A notable example is the control over the interpretation of scriptures. Before the invention of the printing press by Gutenberg, most people had no direct access to the Bible. The church was responsible for interpreting and transmitting the sacred teachings, but this also opened the door to manipulations, where only convenient parts of the scriptures were taught to the people, while others, which could promote spiritual freedom or challenge clerical authority, were ignored. One emblematic case of information concealment occurred during the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, convened by Emperor Constantine. This event determined which texts would be included in the official Bible and which would be discarded. Apocryphal Gospels that presented alternative views of Jesus' life and teachings were rejected. Among them were the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, which offered more free and personal spiritual perspectives, often contradicting the need for a centralized institution as an intermediary between individuals and God. Another significant impact was the imposition of dogmas that limited access to a fuller understanding of spirituality. For instance, the idea that spiritual knowledge could only be attained through the sacraments administered by the Church created institutional dependence. This control was further reinforced by practices such as the Inquisition, which persecuted anyone who questioned church teachings or sought other forms of spirituality, such as so-called heretics and independent mystics. Beyond direct manipulations, there were moments when the Church adapted spiritual teachings to align with political interests. An example is the promotion of the concept of the divine right of kings, which claimed that monarchs were chosen by God and thus had unquestionable authority. This idea, widely propagated by the Church, served to legitimize authoritarian regimes and silence popular dissent. Some spiritual texts remain shrouded in mystery to this day. One example is the Dead Sea Scrolls, discovered in 1947, which include writings dating back to the Second Temple period in Jerusalem. Many of these texts offer interpretations different from those found in the traditional Bible, raising questions about how much has been excluded or adjusted over the centuries. This highlights the possibility that certain spiritual teachings were never fully revealed. The Church's role in concealing information is also tied to preserving male dominance within religious structures. The Gospel of Mary Magdalene, for example, suggests that she was a significant spiritual leader in Jesus' teachings, yet her image was reduced to a secondary role or even distorted. This narrative reinforced the exclusion of women from leadership positions within churches. It is important to note that not all adaptations or concealments were intentional. In many cases, cultural, linguistic, and historical differences influenced how sacred texts were translated and interpreted. However, this does not diminish the impact these changes had on collective spirituality. The exclusion of more mystical or universal aspects from religious texts contributed to a more rigid and institutionalized view of faith. The dark secret that few dare to address is that true spiritual power has always resided within the individual, not in institutions. This revelation challenges the foundation upon which many churches have been built. If everyone understood that a connection with the divine requires no intermediaries, it could completely transform the relationship between faith, spirituality, and power. That's why it is essential to question, seek knowledge, and stay alert to spiritual messages that have often been intentionally kept in the shadows. After all, as the chosen ones, we are called to explore the truth in its entirety, even if it challenges the status quo. The chosen are spiritually gifted individuals, selected by divine forces to fulfill a greater purpose on earth. They are not simply ordinary people. They are souls carrying a special calling, a responsibility that transcends the barriers of human understanding. They possess a unique spiritual sensitivity, profound discernment, and a direct connection with the divine realm, which often makes them misunderstood by the world around them. However, their journey is filled with challenges and a peculiar sense of loneliness, for what sets them apart is precisely what makes them special. For centuries, churches have struggled to identify, embrace, and understand the true role of the chosen. In many cases, these institutions have focused on dogmas and rituals, overlooking the unique spiritual manifestations that arise among the chosen. While some churches acknowledge spiritual gifts such as prophecy, discernment, or healing, the experiences of the chosen often go beyond what is described in religious texts. This creates a paradox. Those who should be spiritual leaders often feel marginalized, with no space to fully express their mission. It is important to note that churches sometimes avoid openly discussing the chosen out of fear of confronting structures that prioritize the collective over the individual. Recognizing a chosen one means accepting that there are spiritual paths that do not necessarily follow the organized or predictable patterns of institutionalized faith. This threatens the status quo and, in some cases, leads to the silencing of those with something extraordinary to share. The result? Many chosen ones end up leaving the churches, feeling misunderstood and even rejected. The chosen often report a sense of isolation within churches. While they seek spiritual refuge, their uniqueness makes them feel out of place. Their profound questions, unusual visions, and ability to challenge limited interpretations of faith may be seen as a threat when, in truth, they are a divine gift. This isolation, though painful, is part of the refining and preparation journey that God places before them to fulfill their mission. Although many churches talk about spiritual gifts, they rarely delve into the experiences of those who possess them in their purest and most intense form. Prophets, intercessors, and those with spiritual discernment are often misunderstood or discredited. Churches may recognize specific gifts, but few spiritual leaders know how to guide or support someone whose connection with God transcends traditional boundaries. This leaves many chosen ones feeling stifled in an environment that should nurture their abilities. One of the main reasons the chosen face challenges within churches is the conflict between dogma and spiritual experience. While dogma provides a structure for the collective practice of faith, it can limit the spiritual freedom necessary for the chosen to fulfill their mission. Their direct experiences with the divine, personal revelations, and unique perceptions often challenge religious norms, leading to resistance from leaders who prefer established paths. The presence of the chosen in churches can be seen in two ways: as a threat to institutional control or as a valuable resource to revitalize spirituality. Many chosen ones have a keen perception of what needs transformation, but their sincerity is often mistaken for rebellion. Instead of being encouraged to use their gifts, they are labeled as deviant or questioning, and in extreme cases, cast out of the community. This reinforces a cycle of exclusion that impacts both the chosen and the churches. This isolation within churches can be understood as part of the trial that the chosen must face. God allows this solitude so they learn to rely solely on Him rather than on human leaders or institutions. It is during this period of separation that the chosen discover their true purpose and begin to develop a deeper and more intimate relationship with the Creator. However, this also forces them to rethink their role in society and how to carry out their mission. In many cases, God calls the chosen to step outside the traditional structures of the churches. This does not mean rejecting faith, but transcending it to a level where the divine connection becomes personal and direct, without intermediaries. The chosen often report that, outside the churches, they find a spiritual freedom that allows them to fulfill their purpose more authentically and impactfully. Still, this transition is not easy, as they must balance their spirituality with the desire to feel part of a community. The chosen represent a new spirituality that challenges norms and invites everyone to a deeper connection with God. They are pioneers, guides, and often bearers of messages the world needs to hear. Churches have a choice: to welcome these individuals with love and discernment, or to remain bound to structures that eventually become irrelevant in the face of divine movement. For the chosen, the journey is clear: to remain faithful to their mission, even if it means walking alone for a time. The light they carry will always find those who are ready to receive it. The chosen possess unique characteristics that set them apart. From an early age, many experience an inexplicable sense of being different. They feel an inner calling, a mission they cannot yet fully comprehend. They demonstrate a profound spiritual sensitivity, heightened empathy, and an almost intuitive ability to discern truth beyond appearances. Physical and emotional signs such as prophetic dreams, recurring synchronicities, and moments of powerful intuition are common. Additionally, many chosen ones report feeling an inexplicable connection with God and the universe, even if they cannot fully express it in words. One of the most striking characteristics of the chosen is their spiritual awakening, which often occurs abruptly or amid significant trials. This awakening may be accompanied by emotional crises, isolation, or a sense that the world around them cannot comprehend the depth of their journey. The chosen often experience a separation between what they once believed and what they now see with clarity. They begin seeking answers that transcend the superficial, and in this process, they become more aware of their divine mission. A common sign among the chosen is the feeling of not belonging to any group, system, or ideology. From childhood, many report feeling out of place, as if they were out of sync with the expectations and norms of the environment in which they grew up. Within churches, this feeling can be amplified, as despite sharing the same faith, the depth of their connection with God and sense of mission may set them apart from others. This alienation, though painful, is an indication that they have been set apart for something greater. Within traditional religious systems, the chosen often face challenges related to acceptance. Due to their unique visions and perceptions, they may be seen as rebels or questioners. Their pursuit of a more authentic and profound spirituality frequently puts them at odds with leaders or established dogmas. Many churches are not equipped to handle the level of discernment and questioning that the chosen bring, resulting in rejection or marginalization. Isolation is a recurring theme in the journey of the chosen. This separation, whether voluntary or imposed, is not a punishment but a process of spiritual refinement. When religious systems fail to provide the necessary support, the chosen are led to rely solely on God. During this period, they develop a deeper connection with the divine, learn to hear God's voice in silence, and prepare for the mission entrusted to them. Many religious systems struggle to handle the uniqueness of the chosen. This is because these institutions often prioritize order and the collective, while the chosen challenge these structures with their authenticity. Their presence exposes the inflexibility of religious systems in embracing unconventional spiritual manifestations. This clash can create discomfort for both the chosen and the religious communities, fostering an environment where spiritual gifts and talents are undervalued or ignored. The chosen face unique challenges related to spiritual loneliness. Even when surrounded by people of faith, they often feel alone because the depth of their experiences is neither shared nor understood by many. This loneliness can be painful but also serves as a reminder that their connection with God is unique and personal. In the silence of solitude, the chosen find clarity about their mission and the strength to persevere, even without the support of others. Paradoxically, the chosen have qualities that make them natural leaders within spiritual communities. Their wisdom, discernment, and connection with the divine are attributes that could inspire and guide others. However, these same qualities often put them in conflict with traditional leadership, which perceives their authenticity as a threat to institutional stability. This dichotomy creates a paradox in which those who could be the greatest spiritual guides are often rejected or underestimated. Despite the challenges they face, many chosen reach a point where they transcend traditional religious systems. They understand that their mission does not depend on an institution, but on their direct connection with God. This transcendence is not an act of rebellion, but an act of obedience to the divine calling. By freeing themselves from the limitations imposed by systems, the chosen find a space where they can live their spirituality fully and fulfill their mission authentically. Although they face many challenges, the chosen often emerge stronger, wiser, and more connected to the divine. The isolation, rejection, and struggles within religious systems are, in fact, part of a greater plan to shape and prepare them for their purpose. At the end of their journey, the chosen not only understand their mission, but also become sources of light and inspiration for those ready to hear the divine truth. This redemption is not just for them, but for everyone who connects with their messages and is transformed by them. Prepare yourself for a journey of self-discovery and spiritual empowerment. In the moments ahead, you will learn practical tools and powerful reflections that will transform your connection with the divine and strengthen your walk as one of the chosen. These daily practices will not only protect your spiritual energy, but also reveal ways to apply God's teachings in your daily life, helping you live in alignment with your greater purpose. If you are seeking clarity, strength, and wisdom, this is the content you need right now. Meditation is one of the most powerful tools for those seeking to strengthen their spiritual connection. For the chosen, meditation is not just a relaxation exercise, but a direct bridge to accessing the divine wisdom within. Set aside a moment each day, preferably at dawn, to sit in silence and listen to the voice of the Spirit. Focus on your breathing, visualize a divine light surrounding you, and allow answers and peace to flow naturally. This practice is essential for gaining clarity amidst daily challenges. Prayer is more than words directed to the divine. It is an intimate and personal conversation with God. For the chosen, praying activates a direct line of communication with the Creator, without intermediaries. Develop the habit of beginning and ending your day with sincere prayers, placing your concerns, gratitude, and requests before God. Remember, there is no right way to pray. What matters is the intention of the heart. This practice will help you create a spiritual shield against negative energies. The chosen have special access to spirituality, and it is crucial to recognize that their spiritual strength does not depend on institutions or intermediaries. God is available to you at any moment and place. Therefore, trust your intuition and allow yourself to question anything that limits your freedom to connect directly with the Creator. Strengthen this relationship by seeking moments of solitude to reflect on the greatness of the divine and your role as one of the chosen. Gratitude is a daily practice that transforms perception and elevates spiritual frequency. Every day, take a few minutes to list the things you are grateful for. It could be something simple like the air you breathe, or something greater like the blessings you have received. This attitude changes the energy around you, helping attract more abundance and divine protection. For the chosen, gratitude is a key that unlocks spiritual doors and opens unexpected paths. Spirituality should not be limited to moments of prayer or meditation. For the chosen, every action and decision in daily life can reflect their faith and divine connection. Practice kindness, forgiveness, and compassion as conscious acts, even in the face of trials. By doing so, you not only strengthen your own spirituality, but also become a light to those around you. Transform simple tasks, such as caring for your home or work, into moments of connection with God, offering each effort as an act of devotion. The chosen often possess a sharp intuition, but don't always know how to use it. To strengthen this ability, dedicate time to listening to your inner voice. When you feel doubt or uncertainty, ask yourself, what is the Spirit trying to tell me? Pay attention to signs, coincidences, and dreams, as God may communicate in subtle ways. Trust your intuition as a spiritual compass that will guide you through difficult times and help you discern what is true. Taking daily time to reflect on your thoughts, actions, and feelings is a powerful tool for spiritual growth. Keep a journal where you can write about your experiences, prayers, and the signs you notice throughout the day. This practice will help you identify patterns and strengthen your spiritual awareness. By reflecting on each day's challenges and victories, you'll see how God is shaping your journey as one of the chosen. The chosen often face spiritual attacks and negative energies, making it vital to protect their energy. Visualize a divine light surrounding you, like a cloak that blocks any harmful influences. Additionally, avoid environments or people that drain your energy. Don't be afraid to set boundaries, as caring for yourself is essential to fulfilling your purpose. Remember, God will never leave a chosen one unprotected, but it is your responsibility to strengthen your own spiritual armor. The chosen must continually seek to expand their spiritual knowledge. Read sacred scriptures, uplifting books, and materials that nourish your faith. Dedicate time to studying and understanding divine teachings, applying them in your daily life. By doing so, you not only strengthen yourself spiritually, but also prepare to guide others who may cross your path in search of light and wisdom. The chosen are called to live with purpose. Every day is an opportunity to fulfill your divine mission, whether great or small. Be attentive to the needs of those around you and serve as an example of faith, love, and perseverance. By living with purpose, you will experience a deeper connection with God and find true peace. As one of the chosen, your life is no accident, but part of a greater plan unfolding with every moment. Faith is a powerful force, a direct connection between humanity and the divine. It transcends institutions, dogmas, or rules, touching the heart of the individual in a unique way. Organized religion, on the other hand, emerges as a structured system, often aiming to facilitate access to spirituality. However, in some cases, these structures end up imposing limits on spiritual growth, focusing more on obedience to rules than on experiencing genuine faith. This tension between spiritual freedom and religious dogmas is one of the most controversial issues for the chosen. To what extent do the rules imposed by organized religion help or hinder the fulfillment of the divine purpose? Many religious institutions use dogmas as a way to establish order and cohesion among followers. However, for the chosen, these rules often become spiritual prisons. Instead of liberating, they end up restricting the understanding of what is truly divine. The imposition of unquestionable beliefs can stifle the inner voice, which is the purest and most direct connection to God. The chosen feel a deep restlessness when confronted with dogmas that do not align with their mission, leading them to question, does God truly desire that we follow human rules at the expense of an intimate and genuine spiritual relationship? While organized religions preach that faith must be mediated through rituals, sacraments, and religious leaders, the chosen understand faith as a direct and non-transferable experience. They feel that God speaks directly to the heart and that this connection cannot be limited by intermediaries or institutions. This perception often puts them at odds with traditional religions, which view individual faith as a threat to their authority. Here arises the great controversy. Can personal spirituality coexist with religious systems, or are the chosen destined to break away from these structures? One of the darkest aspects of organized religions is how they use rules and dogmas to control their followers. Fear of judgment, divine punishment, or social exclusion are powerful tools for maintaining submission. The chosen, by their nature, question this control and refuse to live in bondage. They understand that a true relationship with God cannot be based on fear, but rather on love and freedom. This puts them in opposition to those who benefit from the power generated by manipulating the masses. It is undeniable that many religions throughout history have transformed into systems of political, social, and economic power. They shape cultures, govern nations, and even dictate how people should live their lives. For the chosen, this instrumentalization of faith is a distortion of the divine purpose. They perceive that organized religions often act more for their own survival and influence than for genuine connection with the divine. The controversy lies in the question, is it possible to follow God without submitting to religious systems? The chosen often feel that organized religion exploits emotions like guilt and fear to reinforce obedience. Many dogmas are based on the idea that humans are inherently sinful and unworthy, constantly needing redemption before God. This narrative contrasts with the chosen's view, which sees the spiritual journey as a process of growth and enlightenment, not an endless sequence of punishments. They question, does God want us to live in constant guilt, or does he call us to freedom and love? Another controversial point is the exclusivity preached by many religions, claiming to be the only true path to reach God. For the chosen, this view limits the infinite ways the divine can manifest. They recognize that God is universal and that each individual can find him in a unique way. This perspective often challenges the authority of organized religions, which rely on their supposed exclusivity to justify their existence. What is more important, following an institution or living a genuine spiritual connection? Many chosen face rejection or misunderstanding in churches and religious communities. Their different vision, constant questioning, and direct connection with the divine are seen as threats. This often leads them to distance themselves from these institutions, seeking alternative paths to live their faith. However, this isolation also brings pain and confusion, as many wonder, why does a space that should provide spiritual solace turn into a place of judgment and exclusion? Despite all the challenges, the chosen understand that genuine faith is a powerful tool for liberation. It transcends any human system or rule, directly connecting the human spirit with the Creator. They realize that the true mission of the chosen is to remind the world that faith cannot be contained or manipulated. Spiritual freedom is the greatest gift God has given humanity, and it is up to each of us to decide whether to embrace it or allow it to be stifled by institutions. Many chosen believe their mission is to promote spiritual reform, bringing back the essence of pure and unwavering faith. They see that organized religions have the potential to guide, but must abandon practices of control and manipulation. To achieve this, it is necessary for the chosen to continue raising questions, confronting uncomfortable truths, and spreading the light of true divine connection. After all, the purpose of any spiritual system should be to guide people closer to God, not closer to human power. The maintenance of spiritual authority through control and fear is a phenomenon present in many organized religions throughout history. The message of love, freedom, and empowerment transmitted by God is often replaced by narratives that emphasize sin, punishment, and blind obedience. For the chosen, who possess a more intuitive connection with the divine, these strategies can be suffocating and ultimately harmful to their spiritual purpose. The imposition of limits through fear not only restricts individual freedom, but also distorts the perception of God, turning him into a punitive figure rather than a loving guide. Many religious institutions teach that deviation from established norms results in severe spiritual punishments, such as eternal condemnation. This narrative creates an environment where the faithful become obedient out of fear, not out of love or understanding. For the chosen, who seek a deeper and more intimate connection with God, these practices can lead to doubt, anxiety, and even spiritual alienation. Instead of fully exploring their faith and spiritual gifts, many chosen end up repressed, fearing the consequences of questioning or stepping outside the imposed guidelines. Spirituality transcends the boundaries of the church because it is about the essence of life and being. It is about recognizing that God is in every moment, every breath, every act of love and kindness. One of the great secrets that many are afraid to admit is that you can find God outside traditional rituals. Whether through listening to music, helping someone in need, or even in a moment of deep introspection, you can feel the divine presence. These moments are signs that spirituality is far broader and more inclusive than we imagine. Often, the chosen feel they do not fit into conventional religious systems. This happens because their mission is greater and deeper, directly connected to God. If you feel this way, know that it is not a mistake. God is calling you to something higher, something freer. He wants you to understand that your spirituality is a precious gift that does not need molds or external approval. Your spiritual journey is unique, and God is with you every step of the way. When you realize that your connection with God is direct, your life changes. You stop seeking validation in rules and start listening to God's voice in your heart. Many people report that after leaving structures that limited them, they found a truer relationship with God. This spiritual freedom is what truly transforms lives. It allows you to live in peace, even when everything around you seems chaotic. God is within you. He communicates through your intuition, your feelings, and even daily events. The answers you seek are often already there, waiting for you to hear them. When you silence the external noise, opinions, traditions, social pressures, and focus on what is inside you, that's when the true connection begins. It is a journey of self-discovery and profound intimacy with the divine. You don't need anyone to lead you to God, because He is already with you. No matter where you are or what you've been through, the connection with the divine is always available. God does not dwell in temples made by human hands, but in your heart. He is everywhere, in all things, waiting for you to recognize His presence. True spirituality is living with this awareness and allowing it to transform every aspect of your life. Being chosen often means carrying the responsibility of walking a path that is not always clear. Doubt may arise as a constant voice questioning your ability, your choices, and even your worth. Many chosen ask themselves, "Am I truly worthy of this calling?" This feeling is normal and part of the process of spiritual growth. However, it is important to remember that God does not choose the capable, He equips the chosen. Your journey does not require perfection but dedication and trust in the divine purpose. The best way to combat doubt is to anchor yourself in faith. When uncertainties arise, use the power of prayer to seek clarity and wisdom. Meditate on divine promises that reinforce your identity as one of the chosen. Practice daily gratitude by listing 3 things you are thankful for. This helps redirect your mind to the blessings in your life, strengthening your confidence in God and yourself. Remember, every doubt is an opportunity to strengthen your faith. Loneliness is one of the greatest pains that the chosen face. Being misunderstood by those around, you can bring a sense of isolation. However, loneliness is not a punishment, but a powerful tool for transformation. It is in these moments that you can connect deeply with God and discover your true spiritual identity. Often, isolation is necessary for you to hear God's voice without distractions. To transform loneliness into an enriching experience, create daily moments of intimacy with God. Set aside time to meditate, pray, and reflect on your journey. Seek out the right community, such as groups that share your spiritual values. Remember that being alone does not mean being abandoned. On the contrary, it is an opportunity to strengthen your connection with the divine and find clarity about your purpose. Fear is a powerful weapon that can block the chosen from advancing in their mission. Whether it's fear of failure, judgment, or not living up to divine expectations, it is a constant in the lives of those called to something greater. However, fear only has power if you allow it. The Bible teaches us, "Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God." Isaiah 41 verse 10. Facing fear requires action and trust. Whenever fear arises, ask yourself, what would God say to me in this moment? Strengthen your courage by declaring verses about strength and protection aloud. Additionally, visualize the fulfillment of your purpose, feeling the victory even before it arrives. Fear cannot coexist with faith. The more you strengthen your belief, the less room there will be for fear in your life. The chosen do not go through pain by chance. Every challenge you face is preparation for something greater. God transforms your scars into spiritual weapons to help you fulfill your divine mission. Ask yourself, what can I learn from this experience? Turn your difficulties into lessons and use them as a powerful testimony to inspire others. To find your purpose, start by cultivating self-compassion and patience with yourself. Ask God for guidance and stay alert to the signs He sends. Identify what you love to do and how you can use your talents to help others. The chosen have a mission to impact lives. Discover how your unique gift can be used to serve. Write your reflections in a spiritual journal and watch how the path unfolds before you. The journey of a chosen one is not free of pain, but every obstacle overcome is an opportunity for transformation. When you embrace your identity and trust in the divine purpose, your life begins to change in surprising ways. The pain you have faced becomes a testimony of resilience, faith, and spiritual growth. And this transformation is not only for you, but also for those who will be touched by your story. Have you ever felt that something didn't quite fit? That, despite being in a place many call a spiritual home, your soul seemed to seek answers that weren't there? The chosen often face this feeling, as if they were out of sync with their surroundings, even in spaces where God is mentioned constantly. But why? Since ancient times, there is something the church avoids speaking about openly, something the chosen feel intuitively. It's almost like an invisible tension between what is preached and what is lived, between the light that guides the faithful and the shadows hidden behind the temple's curtains. This discrepancy is not accidental, and there's a profound reason for it. What you are about to discover might change everything. Many chosen carry an immense burden, trying to fit into the standards imposed by institutionalized religion. But what few realize is that this struggle is not a personal flaw, it's a clue to your true purpose. Think about how many times you've questioned tradition, How many times you've heard sermons that didn't resonate with the calling God placed in your heart? Was this just coincidence, or is there something greater at work, something connecting you to a secret hidden in the scriptures and throughout history? The chosen are not like everyone else. And it is precisely for this reason that the system, including the church, seems to react so intensely to their presence. It's as if the very institutional structure knows that there is something about the chosen that represents a threat to the status quo. Have you noticed how some churches treat those who ask questions? Those who dare to go beyond what is taught from the pulpits are often silenced or pushed away. But what most people don't understand is that this rejection is actually a sign that you are getting closer to uncovering the truth. And here's a crucial clue. The chosen have a direct connection with the divine, something that often transcends human rituals and traditions. This connection, however, can be seen as a threat by systems that thrive on collective control. Many pastors, priests, and religious leaders are aware of this truth. They know that the spirituality of the chosen is like a flame that cannot be extinguished, even when pressed by rigid doctrines. And that's why certain messages are deliberately hidden or distorted. But the dark secret is not just about control. It is also tied to a deeper truth about the role of the chosen in the world. It's something that goes beyond the church walls and touches the very essence of the divine plan for humanity. Can you feel it? The signs have always been before us. From biblical accounts to modern experiences, the chosen are portrayed as those who face rejection, persecution, and isolation. But is this a test, or is it a consequence of something the church knows but doesn't want you to discover? And what if I told you that the chosen were called not to conform but to transform? That the traditional system, in its quest for order, fears the impact true spiritual freedom can have. This tension between control and liberation lies at the heart of the dark secret. Think about this. Why do so many people report feeling closer to God in moments of solitude or in direct communion with nature, far from religious structures? Could it be that the divine presence is greater than what institutionalized religion can contain? With every step you take toward understanding your calling as one of the chosen, you get closer to the revelation. This journey is not easy because it requires you to see beyond appearances and question what most accept without thinking. But there is something you need to know before moving forward. The revelation about to be made is not something everyone is ready to hear. That is why you, as one of the chosen, are here now, receiving this message. God guides every step so that only those who are prepared can understand. And now, we are approaching the moment that connects everything. The relationship between the church, the chosen, and the dark secret will finally be unveiled. What has been hidden for generations, what has been silenced out of fear, is about to come to light. But before that, let this truth resonate in your heart. You are called for something greater. And what is about to come may forever change how you see your mission in this world. Here is the truth many fear to say aloud. The dark secret lies in the deliberate omission of something fundamental. That the chosen possess direct access to the divine, a connection that does not depend on intermediaries or external validation. From the beginning, the spirituality of the chosen was designed by God to be unique and unbreakable, guided by the voice of the Spirit and not by the limitations of a human system. However, the institutional church, over the centuries, chose to obscure this reality, not out of initial malice, but out of fear. Fear of losing control, fear of decentralizing power, fear that spiritual freedom might render its structures dispensable. This truth was strategically hidden. It is no coincidence that many teachings have been distorted or suppressed over time. The idea that the faithful must seek God only through specific rituals, leaders, or dogmas was carefully implanted to centralize power. The church, in its institutionalized form, saw spiritual control as a means of survival, a way to ensure that people remain dependent on its systems for guidance. But the chosen have always challenged this narrative. Their direct connection to the divine made them independent of such structures, and this posed a threat to the maintenance of religious authority. The revelation of this truth is liberating and transformative. For the chosen, understanding that their relationship with God is intimate and personal changes everything. They realize they don't need external validation, that the calling they feel in their hearts is legitimate, and that the answers they seek are already within them. This understanding removes the weight of guilt, fear, and inadequacy that many carry for not fitting into the expectations imposed by organized religion. It's as if a veil falls from their eyes, allowing them to see their true identity and purpose with clarity. The impact of this revelation goes beyond the individual. When a chosen one embraces this truth, they become a source of light and transformation for the world around them. Free from dogmas, they can act with freedom, guided solely by the divine will. They become a living example that spirituality is not limited by institutions, but expanded by authenticity and love. This freedom inspires others to question, to seek deeper truths, and to find their own connections with the divine. It's a cascading effect that challenges the foundations of systems that rely on control to exist. That is why you were guided here, to remember that your connection with God is your greatest strength, that you don't need to seek outside what already exists within you. The church, as a human structure, may play a role in uniting communities and offering teachings, but the true spiritual journey is lived personally and uniquely. Knowing this is what sets the chosen apart. They have the courage to walk in the light of truth, even if it means facing misunderstanding from others. The dark secret, now revealed, no longer needs to be a prison. It can be the key that frees you to live fully the purpose for which you were called. Now that you have discovered this secret that most prefer to hide, we want to hear your thoughts. Have you ever felt that the church did not fully understand the purpose of your spiritual journey? Share your story or the moment you felt like a true chosen one, even amidst adversity, in the comments. And as an act of faith and empowerment, declare in the comments, "I am chosen, guided by truth." Let's strengthen this community of light and purpose together. Thank you for staying with me until the end. If this content resonated in your heart, follow the channel, like, and share this video with those who may also relate. If you've made it this far, it's because this message deeply touched you. But there is still something much greater that you need to know. A forbidden secret that could be your greatest spiritual protection. Don't stop now. Click on the next video and find out before it's too late. Your journey isn't complete without this revelation.